Newbing. Klein Newbing does it. Tremendous run from the Brazilian. Now the series makes a stop at the scenic Lime Rock Park, a circuit where Klein Newbing and real-time racing have been extremely successful in recent years. Will real-time's dominance continue in Connecticut, or can championship leader Billy Aublin and the rest of the contenders head to the front? Find out next on Speed. A week ago in Mossport it was high speeds and sunshine. This week at Lime Rock Park it is somewhat slower and the rain is coming down. Welcome to a wet third round of the Speed Touring Car Championship. Hello everyone, I'm Lee Diffie along with Johnny O'Connell, and as you can see this will pose some problems. Look at the standing water. This is a day when these racing car drivers wish they had office jobs, that's for sure. It's going to put them to the test, Johnny O'Connell.
Lee, it really is. It's going to be a difficult day for them. Lots of challenges on a very slippery racetrack.
Well, one driver coming into this series for the first time with a high profile. We look forward to seeing him racing. It is Justin Bell.
Well, I was quietly minding my own business down in Florida, and Mike Galati got asked to drive the car, and he then recommended my dad, who then recommended me. So, you know, I'm very, very pleased that the team did contact me, because I did a little bit of testing over the winter 2 years ago with Champion, with their program. So I had a little bit of experience with the four-wheel drive thing, but I was very pleased. Lime Rock, I was here in the Trans Am last year, so here I am, a week's notice. I've been eyeing the Touring Car Series up as something for me to be involved with. I mean, look at the talent that's out there now. So I don't know, let's maybe if I can prove to Paul and a couple of sponsors that it's worth me being in the car, then I'd like to commit for the rest of the season.
He's a very versatile driver. Of course, we know him from GTS in American Le Mans Series or his efforts in Trans Am. We'll talk more about that. He's in the Audi of Fairfield A4 for Stasis Engineering. Time to look at this track. We know it's wet. Let's look at the finer points. Johnny?
Yeah, Lee, Lime Rock is a very tiny track. It's 1.5 miles long. Only one left-hand corner on it. The key areas are the downhill, which leads you on the long front straightaway, going into Big Bend, turn 1. That's where we're going to see most of the passing. But what's difficult about Lime Rock is you don't have much runoff areas anywhere on the racetrack, so you've got to be careful. Leave a lot in hand as you go through these corners, and again, with it being wet, it's going to be a challenge.
Well, usually in TV land, we show you plenty of beauty shots. That's what they're called in the industry. There's not too many beauty shots today. It is a very glum day. For the third time in his speed touring car career, Will Turner starts from the pole alongside the dynamic young rookie, Matt Plum. He's a local lad, knows this circuit very well, and that's a fine qualifying effort. Back to row 2, Scott Bradley. He's been a sensation. At this point, this is his last race. He only signed on for a 2-race deal, and he has put that car on the second row. There is Pierre Klein Newbing, race winner from Lime Rock last year. Can he do it again? He's already notched up one victory this season. The other guy, of course, is Bill Aublin, starting from the third row. They have a win and a second each. Chuck Hemmingson, that's his best grid position of 2003. He's improved by one position each time. We take it back to the fourth row. Take a look at the guys there. Peter Cunningham. What can he come up with today in this brand new Nissan Sentra? Lots to talk about there, and Nick Johnson sliced 10 grid positions from where he started last week in Mossport in 18th, so that's not a bad job in the BMW either. But Johnny, you've raced on days like this. You've probably even raced here at Lime Rock when it's wet. Talk us through what we're going to see today, what these guys are experiencing.
Well, one of the things is this is a huge grid. We have 51 cars starting. Now, for those guys in the front, they want to get a clean getaway, get into turn 1, and be careful. One guy that has a distinct advantage, though, is Bill Aublin. He's starting 5th, but he just got out of the GT qualifying session. So he has a little bit more track knowledge than these guys. He's going to know where he can push hard. Lime Rock is slippery. This is an older pavement, and so it's quite polished. Normally in the rain, you want to run offline, or what we call rim shots around the corners, but there are certain areas of the racetrack where I noticed guys like Bill, Hans Stuck, these guys that know how to run in the rain, they're finding those parts on the racetrack where there's grip, and sometimes it's crossing the concrete, sometimes it's staying away from the concrete. It's going to be a real challenge, but those guys guys in the front. They've got clear visibility. They can see where they're going. If you're starting 51st, it's going to be like you're right behind a semi doing 100 miles an hour on the freeway. You're not going to see anything. You're just going to watch for brake lights and keep your fingers crossed that you don't get tagged.
You may have noticed some big names a little further down this line. Tim Pappas and Mike Fitzgerald, they won the consolation race, but a technical infraction has put them at the back. Well, one guy who has the best position starting this race is with Calvin Fish right now.
Lee, when you come to Lime Rock Park, there's no surprise to see this man, Will Turner, perform well. He has over 200 days of testing and racing here at this facility, but a big surprise in qualifying was the performance of those rear-wheel drive BMWs on a wet racetrack. But after qualifying, Will Turner, a lot of the boys were saying that you were like you're on rails in that session. Is it track knowledge or just the car setup working well this weekend?
A little track knowledge here at Lime Rock helps a lot, but I'm fortunate enough to have the great platform that BMW gives us with the 325i. We don't need four-wheel drive. We're going to put it on a podium today.
Strong words from Will Turner. Starting alongside him on the front row is another BMW rookie sensation, Matt Plum. But look for championship leader Billy Oberlin. Last time we had rain here at Lime Rock in touring car competition was 2 years ago. Billy Oberlin started last and stormed through the field for a win, Lee.
Yes, we will look for that. We know how good he is working his way through the field. We've seen it already in 2003. A massive field of 51 cars. This should be a great one. Stick around. We'll start after this.
Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed Touring Car Championship is brought to you by BMW. Visit your local BMW centre for a test drive. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Welcome back to Lime Rock Park here in a very wet northwestern Connecticut. This is round 3 of the SCCA Speed Touring Car Championship, part of the SCCA World Challenge. And there you have Will Turner, Matt Plum, the front row, all set to go. Scott Bradley has done a very good job in that Mazda Protege. And Pierre Klein-Newbing, last year's winner here at Lime Rock, the Mossport winner a week ago. Let's see what they can come up with. As we mentioned when we were going to the break, a massive field of 51 cars, Johnny, but the question is just how many of them will make it to the checkered flag.
I tell you, it's going to be a real crapshoot for a lot of these guys just getting to the end. It gets so difficult when you're in the back. One other thing that's difficult, the way the procedure works is you get one lap around the track to warm up your tires before the start. Lime Rock being so short, boom, you don't get as much time to warm up your tires. It was interesting because Pierre Klein-Newbing was one of the few guys really throwing his car around to get heat in his tires. Him being front-wheel drive, I think we're going to see a good start out of him.
As you can see, we are just moments away from the start of round 3, the most testing race of the year so far. Wait for the lights to go out. Pole sitter on your left. Here we go. And that was one of the Audis. John Proul jumped from the line. We've seen that before. It could have even been Justin Bell as well in the Stasis Engineering A4. That Audi leapt from the line. And look at Scott Bradley on the inside already. Great start from him. Oh, and he's contacted Bill Oberlin. Bradley into the side of Bill Oberlin. He spins around and is facing the wrong way. Matt Plum, that looked like did a good job to miss him, or it may have been DuPont. And look at that. Bill Oberlin, our championship points leader, sees the whole field go by. We've got another spinner and contact already. Well, this was predicted, but it's perhaps come a little earlier than expected.
You know, and with this many cars, and again, these guys have not run on this racetrack other than one warm-up lap, so they really didn't have an opportunity to see where it's really wet. You know, bad luck for Billy. Luckily, it's on the first lap. A lot of time to make up, and he has come from the back here before. This is what Will Turner wants, though. He wants all this chaos behind him because it gives him the opportunity to break away. One guy to watch, though. We got another guy off.
There was contact there between Peter Cunningham and a car we're yet to identify, but they were, looked like Cunningham got shoved wide early on, then he came back and there was contact.
And Nicholas Johnson.
Nick Johnson.
Yeah, Nick, again, a very experienced driver. Bad luck for him. And again, he's dragging bits of that car, so again, he'll go to the pits, hopefully fix that out and be able to get back into it. But this is the kind of stuff that you expect with this type of race, this type of racetrack. A lot of things are going to happen.
Will Turner leads the way from Pierre Klein-Newbing. Then Scott Bradley. Then it is Justin Bell who has made a fabulous start from 16th to 4th in one lap, and he's now come to a stop. Something has happened to Justin Bell. He slows dramatically. And there's Bob Stretch stuck on the infield there. We saw that a lap ago. And
And,
Wow.
You know, that could be anything for Justin. Again, remember, when the racetrack is this wet, you're getting a lot of water coming into the car. And if you haven't properly, you know, protected your electronics, a lot of guys will wrap them in bags, use a lot of silicone on them. Anything you can do to keep the water away from making the car short out, you know, you're doing it. So we don't know what happened with Justin, but right at the front here, real interesting. Will Turner, local guy. This is his racetrack. He's got a huge crowd, a lot of fans here. He knows how to get around this racetrack. Pierre Kleinebing, of course, awesome at this racetrack.
Here's the replay of turn 1, the opening lap at Big Bend. Scott Bradley gets into the side of Bill Aublin and turns him around. Incidentally, while we're enjoying these replays, as the guys go through some of that standing water off to the infield, we have been notified that Will Turner is going to receive a black flag for jumping the start. Here is the incident coming out of Big Bend, heading into to the left-hander, and there's Stretch being forced onto the infield, and his race is done right there, and everybody else is taking evasive action. Now let's have a look at this incident with Jonsson and Peter Cunningham. I'll get you to talk us through this one, Johnny. It's interesting. Watch here, see if we can find out. It's a little far away, actually.
You know, it's really tough to tell, but as you come over the rise there, you are very light, and it's hard to tell whether or not, you know, Pete got into the back of them as they came over the rise there, but as you come up the hill there, your car is very light. You might have seen pictures in the past of guys coming over that hill, actually pulling front tires off the front. You know, Trans Am cars, very famous. A lot of pictures of showing Trans Am cars coming over that hill with the front tires off the ground. You're light there, and Pete might just gotten into the back of Nick, and really nothing Nick could do at that point.
And the Nissan is running fourth. Cunningham is up there. Here's John Prohl, the sole remaining Audi. And as you can see, Pierre Kleinubing has got that Acura RSX into the lead. This is how wet it is. Look at this. Our camera as they flash through underneath. Water in abundance here at Lime Rock Park. And for those who have survived the opening lap melee, they're enjoying some clear space out front.
They really are, and one of the things, you got to remember that, you know, TV often does not do justice to just how bad the visibility is. Remember, they're not just having a hard time seeing in front of them, but a lot of time the inside of the thing is fogging up. It's real difficult to see.
And Neil Sapp for the second successive round. He is out early. We'll be back. This action will continue. You're watching round 3 of the Speed Touring Car Championship from Lime Rock Park. As you can see, it is incredibly wet, incredibly testing for these guys. And we're looking at second place, Will Turner. He was our pole man. He's been overtaken by Pierre Kleinubing, who enjoys about a 6-second lead at the moment. We are still waiting for Will Turner to come in for his stop-go. Allegedly, he jumped the start. There's fourth place, Peter Cunningham. It's the first real run, the first proper run for that Nissan Sentra. Brand new car. He did 4 turns at Mosport and suffered from a broken front axle. Look at Scott Bradley doing a wonderful job in that Mazda Protege. He dives to the inside. Whoa, trying hard to pull it up.
It really is, and one of the things that the guys are doing right now is that they're changing their brake bias. You don't really want to lock up your front tire, so guys are moving the brake bias to the rear just for that type of situation right there. Scott, had he left the brake bias to the front, very easily could have locked his front tires and slid into Turner. It's going to be interesting to see whether Turner acknowledges that he jumped the start. Hard to tell from our vantage point that he actually did. They're calling it. But one thing that's really interesting is P.D. Cunningham. Again, this is a very new Nissan, and in a situation like this, experience pays. There is no person anywhere on the planet more experienced at this type of racing than P.D. Cunningham, and he's one guy that if you're Pierre Kleinebing, you're trying to get on the radio. What's P.D. doing? What's P.D. doing? Because you're going to expect him to be coming after you. Another thing, this many cars, we're not showing it, but Kleinebing's going to be getting into traffic real soon, and that's when this race is going to become even more interesting.
An update on Bill Aublin. Yes, he went from high up on the grid, 5th, went into turn 1, was challenging for a top 3 position. There was contact between he and Scott Bradley as Bradley goes wide and around the outside and off the circuit. Scott Bradley goes, keeps the foot down though, and brings the Mazda Protege back onto the circuit. Wild stuff here at Lime Rock.
Beautiful save there by Scott, but you know what? He got cheap-shotted. You know, he got in there, and it looked like Cunningham got into the corner, just like I said. He locked up those front tires, couldn't turn, got into the back of Bradley, and he did a brilliant job of saving that car, because if you fall off at the downhill, it's one of the most dangerous corners in racing. There's no gravel, there's nothing there but a whole bunch of angry tires that are ready to eat up your car.
Just getting back to that point on Bill Aublin, he's come from 51st and last after everyone went past him in turn 1. He is now running a very impressive 22nd. That was as of the last lap. And there we go. Look at this. Peter Cunningham running up in second place. He is some 9 seconds behind Pierre Kleinubing. So it's the real-time racing Acura RSX leading the way. And there is Kleinubing back to Team RTR. the Nissan of Peter Cunningham and John Prawl in the Stasis Engineering Audi A4. He has done a nice job. He was very swift off the start. So too was teammate, and Bradley's in trouble again. That looks like it's either Scott Bradley or Chuck Hemmingson. And it is Scott Bradley. Whoa, one of the Acuras. Wild stuff. And that is Zach Mazzotta.
Oh, God, oh, my goodness.
As he pulls right in front of Will Turner. And Turner takes evasive action. Boy, we knew it was going to be wild, but perhaps not this wild.
You know what? For a lot of the other series, they actually used the chicane there at the top of the hill, and it's a beautiful move by Turner because he actually just took the other racetrack, went in the chicane, avoided the accident, did a super job.
Will Turner, that could have been very, very ugly. Here's our race leader, Pierre Klein-Newbing, the 3 times champion, and is really relishing these wet conditions. I spoke to him earlier today and I said, how are you going to enjoy this wet? He said, I think we'll go just fine. And he's doing that right now. Almost an 11-second lead over Peter Cunningham. As he's taking a very, very wide line through the uphill. Let's have a look at this. Here's Scott Bradley.
You know, it looks like he just got in too hot. Again, he's trying to run down Petey Cunningham. He's probably angry a little bit at Petey. So he wants to get back up to him. Got in too hot, didn't make the corner spins to the inside, and looks like a similar thing happened to Mazzotta there. Just got in too deep. Now, normally in a racing line, when it's wet, if you're out wide like that, there's grip, but you only have so much to deal with. He brought it a little bit too far, lost it back end. But here's Turner coming up, and man, that is a scary moment.
Well, Lee, Will Turner had just made that stop-and-go penalty. He was fighting the issue. He said, I didn't jump the start. I rolled forward. I stopped before the green light went. So the team were arguing really hard to try and get that penalty reversed. But ultimately, he did make the trip down pit lane, lost some track position, got back out there. But Pierre Klein-Newbing at the point, those real-time boys have been working hard all weekend trying to find a slight misfire in the mid-range of the engine. He found when he was short-shifting the car in the wet conditions, it was really causing the engine to misfire. So they took the car to a chassis dyno yesterday here locally, fixed the problem, and now he's on full power, Lee.
Well, tough day for Turner Motorsports if you think about what happened. Let's have a look. Watch to the left of the screen. Turner moves. Lights had gone out by then.
Yeah, but really difficult for me from that angle to say yes he did or no he didn't. You got to rely on the officials, and at the end of the day, sometimes they make calls that are right, sometimes they make calls that are wrong, but you got to abide by what they say. And you know what? Seeing that situation right there when Auberlin got turned around, I don't know whether it was Bradley or someone else getting into him or too much rear brake bias, you know, but I don't want to definitively say that it was Scott Bradley that got him going backwards.
Full course caution. Full course caution for the first time, and that's Scott Bradley's Mazda protege. He is out of the race, the former Star Mazda champion, and we are under full course caution. There's going to be a bit of a clean-up here at Lime Rock. Cars littered all over the circuit. It has been a wild and frantic start as the rain continues to fall here in Connecticut. Stay with us. You're looking at a very industrious James Sofronis making the most of a pretty bad situation in his BMW. Vision is at a premium, and if you can enjoy that sign, that's on Neil Sapp's car, and sadly Neil is out of this race, just like the case at Mossport a week ago where he left the race early. Someone who else went out earlier than expected, but boy, did he make a dynamic start, is Justin Bell, and Justin is with Calvin Fish right now.
He did have a great opening lap there. Justin 16th all the way up in the top 3, and then a bit of a problem with the engine, I believe.
Yeah, well, the guy said to me, as long as you keep 2 wheels on the tarmac, you can run the grass. So I went left, everyone else went right, and I was in second going into turn 1. Everything felt great. I mean, the car was good. I'm thinking, oh, where am I going to go by for the lead? Coming up the uphill, the engine cut out once, allowed a couple of people to go by. As we were going into turn 1, suddenly, bang, off it went. And I was hitting every switch, including the coffee maker, trying to get the thing to start. And very disappointed because, you know, the whole Stasis team and Paul and everyone done a hell of a good job. So, you know, now I'm just a spectator again.
All right, we're going back green. Let's take a look.
The green flag waves, it flies, and so too does Pierre Klein-Newbing. There's 6 cars between Klein-Newbing and Peter Cunningham in that new Nissan Sentra. Here's the lap traffic separating these guys, and watch for second place. There it is, the silver, black and red. Number 1, Peter Cunningham, the reigning Speed Touring Car champion. Pole sitter here last year as the lap traffic fight it out hard. Let's not forget about Bill Auberlin. He has come from last out of turn 1 to 15th. That is a mighty effort.
It's a great effort, but I tell you what, as you get closer and closer to the front, it becomes more and more difficult. And as we see with Pete, Pete's running second here, trying different lines, but getting by these guys in front of him makes it very, very difficult. Although he did get a point by right there, so there's one driver who's using his head. But as you get closer and closer to the front, especially with this traffic, man, you have no idea how hard it is to work your way through there.
Well, we did have a report whilst we were away from Calvin Fish that Nick Johnson is pretty hot and pretty upset about what occurred between he and Peter Cunningham. And apparently he is talking with officials, SCCA officials right now. We might get more on that later from Calvin, so we'll follow that one. But for Cunningham, he's running a strong second. Plum, the rookie, Matt Plum, started outside front row. He's running in third. And here's Will Turner, our pole man. They said, SCCA officials said he crept, then stopped. And he had to go in for a mandatory stop-go penalty. He's running 10th at the moment. John Prawl in the Audi is running a strong 4th. Dobson in the BMW. Then Roger Fu. This is a good strong run from Roger. There he is in the Mazda Protege. Then Shauna Marinus. Good stuff from her also. Will Turner weaves his way through this incredibly congested racetrack.
Very difficult job working your way through here. And it's so funny because we saw James Safranis, using the squeegee. And I went up to Justin Bell before the start of the race. I said, hey, are you going to carry anything in the car? So if you fog up on the inside. Now, in a lot of cars like Trans Ams, you have a windshield wiper on the inside for fogging. It's one of the things you rarely think about. You use the Rain-X, you use dishwashing soap, all the things you can keep your windshield from fogging up. Somehow or another, they always do. So a lot of these drivers, what they do, they get a squeegee or they get something with a rag on it so that they can actually pick up that stick while they're driving, rub it along the inside of the windshield. They can see again, because your most difficult thing, we got a big problem here.
That's just at the uphill section, at the base of the uphill.
Oh, another one off.
2 makes 3, and there's one of the real-time racing Acuras involved in that one. Zach Mazzotta again. He was tangled up in that. And boy, these are testing conditions for these guys. There's Bill Aublin, or was it Frank Seldorf just whipping on by, and there's Mike Van Sicklen.
It's so funny, Lee, because a lot of times you see something like that happen. You see these 2 cars and they've flown off the racetrack and you wonder, well, there's got to be yellows out there and everyone's got to see what's going on. Why aren't they slowing down? But remember, it's the wet. And so if you're behind a fella, and there's a caution up in front of you, a lot of times you don't pick it up. And that looks like Mazzotta might just have gotten into the back of him there.
Van Sicklen in the Lexus. And then there was other shenanigans occurring on the other side of the track. Good escape there.
See, but if you look right here, we're going to see another car coming in here. His visibility going into that corner, I guarantee you, is limited because of all the spray and everything. He might not have picked up the yellow. You see right there, he's on the outside line. He realizes he's in trouble, gets on the brake, locks up into the guardrail.
And while we were watching that incident, there's been another one. Coming round into the left-hander, Roger Fu in the mud, slipping and sliding.
That's his rally imitation. Right?
Yeah, it is.
He's doing a very nice job of controlling it. It's so funny because when we watch guys run in the wet, normally what you do is you take a very wide line like Fu did right there. But I was talking to several guys this morning, and they're finding in the left-hander, actually, there's grip down there in tight. So, one of the things that's difficult as a driver is as you're driving the line. It's funny because you just saw Kleinebing take that normal racing line, and it worked for him. So you got to work real hard to study the racetrack and find the grip.
The real-time racing Acura RSX S is performing beautifully in these slippery conditions. The attrition rate is high. We'll be back. Welcome back to Lime Rock Park, this wet and slippery track as Bill Aublin makes his way past Brad Sofranis, and we congratulate Brad. He has won the B&M Hole Shot Award here today. He made up 18 positions from his starting position of 41st. It was a very good first lap for Brad.
Good job, fellow Denison University graduate. He tells me that we had beers together once or twice back in college. I just don't remember.
We go back up the front of the field, and here is our race leader to the tune of some 16 seconds, Pierre Klein-Newbing. We might call him the Duck. He likes these wet conditions. He is going beautifully. And Calvin Fish, this car is performing superbly.
It really is, Lee. In the race it over in qualifying, Jerome Zimmerman, you had some issues. You saw the BMW sweep the front row, but since then you've been to work and the car's running well.
Yeah, we had a low-speed drivability issue, which really comes into play in the rain. We got that ironed out, and we just worked on the basics, you know, changing suspension, keeping the windshield from getting fogged up with a little soap. Everything's working out pretty well.
All right, well, the soap's working well and it's slippery out there, but Pierre Klein being certainly on top of things, Lee.
Yeah, I visited the Tri-Point team with Jeff Altenberg and Shauna Marinus earlier today as well. They were doing that same thing, Johnny, putting like detergent soap on the inside of all the windows.
And a lot of people might not understand that, but really what you do, because I remember doing it when I was racing go-karts, and I was like, what the heck is this all about? How do you keep from fogging up? And what you do is you take dishwashing liquid or liquid like that, you rub it on the inside of the windshield, or if you've got a motorcycle helmet, on your visor, and then you just wipe it off. You don't use water. You just kind of rub it in, and it prevents everything from fogging up. And it's brilliant. A guy was doing it back in the 50s or whatever, and selling this stuff. You know, it was laundry soap. He was selling it for money, and then until someone had it analyzed, realized he was just taking laundry detergent, boom, mixing it up, and putting it on a windshield. But it does a great job.
Updating you on Bill Auberlen after spinning at Big Bend, turn 1, the opening lap. He has come from last to 7th. He is continuing this amazing charge, but it may be somewhat difficult to catch our race leader. Klein Newbing is almost 15 seconds in the lead. Auberlen is putting in some very fast lap times. He's in the 1:16, so he is running quicker at the moment than Klein Newbing. We will monitor that situation.
Yeah, but Pierre, I mean, right now he's got such a big lead. Give you an idea, his best lap time is a 13.8. The next closest person, as far as lap time goes, is over 1.5 seconds slower than that. I mean, Pierre is owning this place. Acura really has a great driver in Pierre Kleinenbing. I hope they're taking care of him.
Well, let's have a look at a replay of some of the action so far. Turn 1, the opening lap, we saw Auberlen and Bradley get together. There we see Bob Stretch going on to the infield. Then Scott Bradley, he was the wild man today in his Mazda Protege after a really strong run early on. It ended prematurely. Got into the barrier, just coming into the uphill section. And it just goes to show experienced drivers how they can get into trouble. Zach Mazzotta here, one way, then the other. Slipped around. That wasn't the end of it, though. Watch Will Turner coming up. That was a close call. Then Mike Van Sicklen and Zach Mazzotta again, same part of the track. They got together. And Roger Fu in the Mazda. He did a little bit of World Rally stuff. Perhaps he could propose to Mazda to get a factory entry for WRC. Klein Newbing continues to go from strength to strength and is running strong up front, but Cunningham has taken a few seconds out of him in the last couple of laps. We'll check on that after this.
Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed Touring Car Championship is brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow.
The race continues and Pierre Klein Newbing continues to dominate. However, Peter Cunningham did take several seconds out of him, but I'd say that was due to traffic. The Acura pilot has got this one under control, but a little further back, Johnny, there's some good individual races. Matt Plum is putting a lot of pressure on Peter Cunningham.
As is Ken Dobson doing a great job on John Prawl. I mean, we got a bunch of guys here that are running really, really close, and it might get exciting. The one thing that would really make this great is if there was a full, oh, we got a brilliant catch right there. He's got that extra body work. I think it's working as a fin.
There's second and third. Peter Cunningham, Matt Plum, the rookie from Newport, Rhode Island. This is his local circuit. He's driven around here lots. And look at Cunningham. Slices through that lap traffic as quickly as he could. Put another car between himself and Matt Plum. Running fourth is John Prawl in the Audi. Ken Dobson is right on him, about 1.5 seconds behind. Then Shauna Marinus has come from 12th to 6th. Great run for her in the Mazda. Bill Auberlen is now in 7th. That's been a very, very dynamic run. Chuck Hemmingson has dropped a couple of positions from his grid spot. Alfred Dupont and Roger Fu. That's the top 10. Sadly, our pole sitter is back.
Look at Plum, though. He got a good run on Petey. Petey committed to an inside line. Matt took the outside line. It might pay off here. No. Petey, is controlling the inside of the line. He's doing a really good job. I got to tell you, Matt Plum, I think he's really impressing a lot of people because as you walk through the paddock, guys were really mentioning about what a good job he's been doing. And to be up there with Petey Cunningham as a rookie, he's learning a lot from Petey, but he's also showing a lot of maturity by not getting into trouble.
Calvin
Yeah, I just want to clear up a rumor, Lee, that's been circulating the paddock. And, you know, since Petey had the baby, there's no truth to the fact that his wife, Rainey, has made him drive a four-door car, and he's going to put that rewards rate in the baby seat in the back. So I just want to clear that up for you.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I'm sure Peter will be happy about that as well. So Plum continues the chase, and we didn't get to see much of Cunningham at Mossport in this new Nissan Sentra, and it's not just a case of him going out and buying a car. This is a full deal. You've got Ron Stukenberg, the senior manager of Nissan Motorsports Marketing and Operations. He's come all the way out from California to watch this event, to watch how Peter's team RTR operates, and so far they're very, very pleased with how this new car and this operation is running.
Well, you know that they picked the right guy. I mean, Petey Cunningham really knows what he's doing. He's prepared championship cars for a long time. He's got a great history.
And there is fourth place, John Prawl, and watch behind for Ken Dobson. Couldn't quite see him in that shot. There he is there in the Chili Pepper Racing BMW as Prawl slices through this lap. Traffic contact there, and that's a great example of just how difficult this is.
It's extremely difficult. I mean, because you've got, you know, especially he's under a lot of pressure. He knows that Dobson is right on him, hunting for a position. These guys are attacking all the time. A lot of times you got to stick your car, your nose in there, and hope that, you know, if there is contact, you're going to come out the better for it. But when you get into traffic like this, it's those moments where you hesitate, where you don't stick your car in there aggressively, that you get into trouble. So most of these guys know that, and that's how they approach things.
And important for John Prawl, this is going to help if he can maintain this position. This is going to really help Audi in that manufacturers championship chase. BMW and Acura are tied at the top as Dobson gets it a little sideways. So Prawl can help Audi take the fight to Lexus and Mazda a little more. And Klein Newbing, if he will take this victory, that's certainly going to help Acura. Look at Dobson. Just look at the spray. The visibility must be diabolic out there.
When you watch them go down the straightaway, you might think that they're pulling to the inside to make a move. They're pulling to the inside or taking a different line for better visibility. If you're right behind that person like you would normally be doing in racing, you can't see anything. I mean, you're so committed to just following that guy. So you pull out, you open yourself, your field of vision up by getting a little bit wide there. Boy, look at how this racetrack is holding water. It's probably making things real difficult. Dobson, though, doing a good job as he's dropping wheels and working hard. You know what? This is the type of situation that he wanted, though. He wanted a wet race because the previous two races he's felt he's been down a little bit on horsepower. Rain takes that out of the equation. It comes down to driver and car setup, and it looks like they've done a good job with that, him running 5th position.
Car 4, the Tri-Point Mazda protege of Shauna Marinis. She started back in 12th position. She's running in 7th at the moment. Bill Auberlen has just got past her. So Auberlen now pressuring for a top 5. The next driver on his list will be fellow BMW driver Ken Dobson.
Be interesting because, you know what, I don't think that Dobson, with as good a run as he's having, is going to make that an easy pass for him. You know, getting there is one thing. Like they always say, getting by is another.
We continue on now, some 28 laps into this 40-lap marathon, and again some highlights of what we have experienced and what those guys have experienced today. There's plenty more coming up. We'll see if Pierre Klein Newbing can take the win. The third round of the Speed Touring Car Championship continues here at Lime Rock Park. Our race leader, Pierre Klein Newbing, is literally playing in the wet. He's having a wonderful drive. This has been a dominating performance. He's had 3 wins here before in his Speed Touring Car career. And this could very well be, he's now some 17.5 seconds in front. And look at this, now we have a real race on our hands here. John Prawl in the Stasis Engineering Audi of Fairfield entry is right up with Matt Plum. And Plum is still only about a second or so behind
Petey Cunningham, isn't it?
No, Cunningham's dropped. Something's happened since we've been away. Cunningham has dropped to 4th, so Matt Plum is now in 2nd. And Prawl is in 3rd. What has happened to Peter Cunningham? So the Nissan has dropped 2 positions. Now we'll see if he can return the fight to these guys. So that is a major development while we're away. Matt Plum, the rookie, started outside the front row. Just saw in the background there the Nissan Sentra of Peter Cunningham.
Hard to say whether, I mean, something like that can happen. It can be traffic. I mean, mechanically, he's still running at speed, so I'm guessing there was a traffic issue or something like that. But again, one of the things I mentioned before is the maturity of Plum and how he's driving. He's not forcing anything, and it's coming to him. That's what all the good drivers do. They wait to for the race to come to them, especially in conditions that are difficult like this. But I mean, Cunningham's still going quick, so it's traffic. He maybe got turned around a little bit, but he's still in the fight, and there's plenty of time for him to get those positions back.
We've just had word too from the SCCA officials that this is definitely a timed race, the 50-minute time limit on it. It was scheduled to be a 40-lap race. We won't quite make it to that. And there is Bill Auberlen. Last time we saw him was turned around right here on the opening lap, and he has fought his way very aggressively, but in a sophisticated manner, not doing anything wrong to work his way up into 6th. That's a great effort, and this is all about championship points. And when you get turned around in turn 1, you think, oh no, this is not the way to start the day, but he has fought back in a great fashion. And there's the next guy on his list, so he could very well break into the top 5.
You know, he's done a great job. I mean, after that initial, turn 1 incident, he's kept his head down. But remember, Bill's done this at this racetrack, similar situations before. And having done that, when you find yourself in that situation, you can say to yourself, wait, I've been here before and I've won. And so I'm just going to put my head down, get my job done, and remember why, I'm on the BMW payroll. It's to do a good job and win races. He's doing everything he can today to do that.
Well, the rain has been relentless. In fact, it may have even got a little stronger since we started this one. The spray makes it so hard. Someone there, Ken Dobson, just flashing the lights to that lapped car, just saying, come on, give me a break, let me through on the inside. I got Bill Auberlen, the championship points leader, breathing down my neck, and Ken Dobson loses traction, runs a little wide, now he gathers it up. Good job, Ken.
Really nice car control there. And again, it doesn't take much in these situations. You get that little bit of a skid going, and sometimes that's all that the person behind you needs to get by. Great job by Dobson, though, collecting that. And again, he's right up on Petey Cunningham, so he's working for position. You know what? That's scary there, because as he went across that concrete is so much more slippery. It was very easy. He could have gotten into Petey there, and maybe it would have been payback for Petey getting into Johnson at the beginning of the race. Sometimes what goes around comes around, but right now Ken Dobson doing a great job. He's going to really want to keep the pressure up on old Petey Cunningham.
And this is not over for Auberlen either, because he could squeeze into the top 4 if things go his way. It's Clay Newbing, Plum, the rookie, from John Prawl in the Audi, Cunningham, Dobson, and Auberlen all running together. Then the Mazda of Shauna Marinas. It should be a very interesting finish. Those puddles are not going away. The race and the rain continue here at Lime Rock Park. It's Acura leading BMW, leading Audi. Pierre Klein Newbing, Matt Plum, the rookie from Newport, Rhode Island, and John Prawl. Both Plum and Prawl are sitting in career best positions. And look at the crew here. That's for the real-time racing guys, Jerome Zimmerman and the boys. And their man has really shone here in these testing and trying conditions. While we're away, Bill Auberlen did round up both Ken Dobson and Peter Cunningham and is now running 4th. Just to update you on his teammate, Will Turner in the Turner Motorsports BMW, our pole man is back in 12th and has been there for some time.
You know what? I mean, Bill certainly has had a great race, but one of the interesting things, we're wondering what's going on with Petey Cunningham. Why is he falling back? And there's a good possibility that...
Cunningham spun. Sorry, excuse me, Johnny. Cunningham has spun on the outside of the left-hander. And look at that. Is that Jeff Oldenburg or Shauna Marinas gets sideways there as well? So Klein Newbing goes through, and Peter Cunningham has not only lost just a couple of positions, he perhaps is out of this race.
As you see Pierre fighting for grip there coming down the straightaway.
Let's see what we can happen. Dobson's on the inside to the right. Cunningham in the background.
An avoidance, and boom, right in that back. That's bad luck. You know what? Sometimes you say that's a racing accident, and that's totally what happened there. I mean, Dobson trying to gather up his car. Petey really didn't have anywhere to go, and but for half a second, he'd have been through clean.
There is our leader, Pierre Klein Newbing. And time running out. We are getting very close to the end of this one. We're being told white flag this time by. It is a timed race, 50-minute maximum. And look at the crew, real-time racing, watching on anxiously. And there it is, the white flag. So one more to go for Pierre Klein Newbing, and he says, thank you for that. I only have to do 1.5 more miles, and my day is done.
Well, you know what? And he showed himself to be so solid, but you can see the result of that hit on Peter Cunningham. He got that right rear locked up, and, you know, he's probably going to try to soldier on, get some points out of it. That's, you know, how you keep yourself into a championship. Not the type of beginning racing that I know everybody in Nissan wants to see, but you know what? We're seeing sparks there. We're seeing a lot of good things out of this program. I think it's just going to get better as it goes on. Petey has done a great job. He's run at the front. One of the things I was trying to say, though, I don't think he's got the brakes that the BMW has, because where Billy got him was under braking, and that might have been the reason why he was falling back to your competitors.
And that's the determination of a champion. Both this guy and the reigning champion, Peter Cunningham, that rear right wheel not turning round, and Peter's just going to drag it home. But Pierre Klein-Newbing is on his way home and on his way to the second victory of the 2003 season, the downhill section into turn 7. Final time. He did not start from the pole position, but he finishes in the right position. And there are the real-time racing guys. Checkered flag is out. The Brazilian makes it 2 from 2. He won a week ago in the dry at Mossport. He's equally as good in the wet. Well done, Pierre Klein-Newbing for real-time racing. The Acura makes it 2 from 2.
A super job by him. And you know what? Here comes Bill Auberlin, another fellow that had a great race. But don't forget Plum and Prowl. I mean, all these guys at the front. But one of the cool things is we're seeing different manufacturers up there. And one of the beautiful thing about, you know, Speed World Challenge touring car racing is that these factories are getting involved, and they're getting involved bigger. And to a guy like Pierre Klein-Newbing, that's a good thing, because who do you want? If I'm Nissan, I want a great driver. The guy I'll be looking for is Klein-Newbing. You know, same with BMW. There's a guy that we're looking at right now. He's hot property, man, and a smart factory is going to pick him up.
And while it's celebrations for real-time racing, there's celebrating going on for Plum and Crawl as well. Career best position.
Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed Touring Car Championship is brought to you by B&M Racing and Performance Products, the world leader in shifter technology.
Welcome back to a sodden Lime Rock Park. The third round of the Speed Touring Car Championship has been run and won, and he has done it here before in Connecticut, but I think today Calvin Fish might be Pierre Klein-Newbing's most memorable win.
Certainly the toughest conditions, Lee. Pierre, you've won here 4 times now, but talk about the conditions out there, the spray, the traffic, 50-odd cars out there.
Well, it's rough, but thank God this time I had the right tires. You know, last time we run these conditions here, I had dry tires on. Today we had the right tires, right car, and the right crew. Acura did it again.
Absolutely great performance today. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much.
Let's take a look at the results. We had 3 different manufacturers in the top 3 last weekend, and the same again here in Lime Rock. Acura, BMW, and Audi. Great manufacturer diversity, and congratulations again to Bill Auberlin, who worked his way all the way up to 4th. Dobson certainly had his hands full. You can see in 16th there, the Circuit City Mazda of Charles Espenlaub. He started 47th and worked his way to 16th, and that's why he wins our Sunoco Hard Charger Award. Congratulations to Charles. And we go back through the remainder of the field to those guys who experienced not such a good day.
Well, you know what? If you're rolling your car onto your transporter, it wasn't a bad day for you today.
Well, let's hear from one of the new sensations of this championship. Matt Plum is with Cal.
Well, he may be a rookie, Lee. He didn't drive like one today, Matt. Sensational run, 2nd place. You got to be happy.
I am definitely happy. I was definitely looking for the win. I woke up this morning, saw the rain, and said this could be my win. But you know, that was a tough race, I think, for everybody. And you know, you can't say enough about this series. Lap traffic was unbelievably heads up. Even in these conditions, nobody could really see any flags, but everybody was really keeping an eye on their mirrors and really made it fun for the leaders.
Well, Matt Plum, a great run here today. Track knowledge certainly played its part, Lee, but for this rookie, his career best performance, 2nd place.
Certainly is, and coming into this championship, to this round of the championship, he was 14th in the points. That 2nd will help him rocket up there. He's not in the top 5 yet, but he will not be far away. Klein-Newbing now takes over the lead, away from Bill Auberlin. And Roger Fu, consistency is what counts. And Will Turner, their valuable points. Well, there you go. Matt Plum from 14th to 10th. That 2nd was very, very valuable.
Did a super job. I mean, and that's the type of thing you like to see out of a rookie. He's doing a great job, and I think as each round goes better, he's going to get stronger. Today's finish for him will give him a lot of confidence for the future.
Well, the corner workers, the track workers who are just, they're angels. They do this. A lot of them are volunteers. All of them virtually are volunteers. They work in the scorching sun, the high heat, and then they have to face days like this. So it's a pretty testing period for everyone. Final thoughts, Johnny O'Connell. It was a pretty good one.
Well, no, I was surprised. You know, I mean, everyone came through it a lot more cleanly than I thought they were going to be. There really no big shunts, a couple little ones that made life a little bit difficult for guys. But, you know, once again, Pierre Clanabing, he's showing why he's a champion. You know, we know Bill Auberlin's strong. A lot of these guys are strong. Pierre is stamping his name on this series.
Couple of great drivers and a couple of forceful drives from Justin Bell storming early and Scott Bradley. We hope they will be back for the next round. Let's hope they can negotiate a deal. The next round will be from Road Atlanta. We look forward to that. Stay with us here on Speed though, because GT is coming up. On behalf of our pitman Calvin Fish, Johnny O'Connell here in the booth, I'm Lee Diffie. Thanks for staying with us on a wet and wild day here in Lime Rock. But stick around, plenty more coming up.